All right, so it's about to be 3 a.m. in the morning, and I should really be trying to get some sleep at the moment, but knowing full well that that's not going to happen, um, I proceeded to, as unhealthy as it may be for my state of mental health and sanity, um, I started watching 9/11, September 11th, 2001 uh, footage of civilians that were recording, you know, those terrorists attacks on that day, and it was like a 30-minute video of just a bunch of clips compiled into one, and I just started crying. Like I just started crying. It had been a they say it's healthy to cry at least once a month, but anyway, yeah, I just started crying. It was just like, man, it's just it's like when your parents tell you, "I'm not angry at you, I'm just disappointed," and there was a whole lot of that going on. And I mean, granted, I'm sure what kind of pulled at my heartstrings was just the utter shock and the terror in people's voices as this was unfolding in real time and as those planes crashed into those buildings, and just the how that was reality unfolding back in September 11th, 2001. Never forget. Never forget. I remember I was in high school. I was a sophomore at the time, and yeah, it's just complete fucking insanity. But yeah, I started crying and just at the realism of this wasn't some fucking this wasn't a movie. This wasn't people. This wasn't like watching a play. This wasn't some AI generated bullshit. This was like it was just sheer, unfiltered terror in people's minds and what they were seeing with their own two eyes, and just the inflections in their voice, and just yeah, I just never forget. And it's like sometimes I know, especially nowadays, right? I can only imagine. I mean, for like the youngsters of Gen Z and on going forward into the future, but nowadays it's like we all have to fucking distract ourselves with something, right? Everyone and their fucking, everyone and their fucking grandmother just has to distract themselves with something. The days of sitting in a room alone with your thoughts, with the TV off, and just hearing the ceiling fan drone over and over just above your head. Mm, 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 and just exercising the ability to retract and revisit memories of your past. Like, just a good day that, I don't know, whatever the fuck it may be, right? When you went to this badass fucking concert back in 2002, or when your best friend in middle school broke the news that he was gonna move back to California, and all the whole, the whole fucking, you know Buttercream gang was all sad and crying, and everybody was sad because he had to move back to California, or whatever. Just reflecting on like memories, right? Of that you just are just stuck in your head and embedded in your mind forever, and trying your damnedest and trying your hardest to recall those memories or recall those emotions on how you felt at that point in time 20 years ago, or the first time you opened, a fucking Christmas present and there was a fucking Super Nintendo in there, and it was like, holy fuck, I got a Super Nintendo. And it was like you just won a fucking, $20 million on a scratch off or some shit, as a kid. Things like that, right? Like, just, it's fucking depressing that people don't, maybe they don't want to, maybe they just can't anymore, due to the way we're being conditioned, with technology, and how life just moves faster and faster. Every decade. In the 80s, it was like, well, you're a kid, whatever. And in the 90s, a summer day in the 90s lasted a fucking eternity. And then you get into the 2000s and the Y2K, then you get into the 2010s, and right now we're like over the hump of the 2020s, the halfway hump of the 2020s. And that's just life, right? Every decade just moves a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And technology doesn't help that illusion of time moving faster, right? But it's fucking depressing how people don't exercise, or perhaps again have forgotten how to exercise the ability to recollect past memories and just try to revisit them, and elaborate on them, and just try, your hardest, your damnedest to just remember like every single little detail of that day, and just dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into your mind, and just, get lost within yourself when you're just all alone sitting in a room. But no, well, people can't do that anymore. You gotta reach for the phone. It's like, fuck, there's no TV on, there's no radio on, fuck the phone. And I don't know where or how the future unfolds, or what the fuck it's gonna unfold into, when we're too blind to the fact that this setup, this formula, is not going to end well at all going forward for humanity within even just the next 5 years. I was gonna say the next 10 years, but fuck, it ain't even gonna take that long. Just the next 5 years, it's just, if people don't start, and I'm not saying this from the position of some like high and mighty, I understand it all and you don't. It's not about any of that stupid shit. But if people don't start waking the fuck up to what's really going on, granted, you'll never know and come to a full understanding of everything that's going on. But if we stop questioning, I guess that's a better way to say it. If we stop questioning what the fuck is really going on around us, and we just continue to keep ourselves distracted in our little fucking rectangle rectangular little prison, it's not going to end well at all for humanity. I mean, it's not going to end well at fucking all. That's why I've always felt philosophy is very important, and that's something nowadays that people are just like, "Whoa, it's fucking stupid. What the fuck do you need that for? Fucking stupid, whatever." People, whatever. But the moment you stop questioning your own actions and the actions of others, and why people do the things they do, why people say the things they say, and the minute we throw that out the window, as if philosophy no longer has a place amongst the fellow man, just people. It's the day you stop asking questions is the day we're just doomed because there's nothing. I don't know. I'm going off on like certain totally different wormholes with this fucking thing. Granted, it's 3 in the fucking morning. But ultimately, I'll just wrap it up with this, and that's that. Just never forget. Never forget. I'm not saying that it was just such a crazy day, and to relive and experience those memories on September the 11th and the horrors that occurred on that day. And just never forget, never question. Going back to philosophy, never question how and why something like that could happen. And of course, people want to have dozens and dozens of conspiracy theories, and people, oh, that's not why it really happened. This is why it happened. But it's not about. It's not really about that. It's not about me really knowing how it all went down and why. And it's not really about that. The main thing of it all, fam, to take away from that moment in human history, which is a huge pivotal curveball in the timeline of human history. Probably the most important moment in human history from my lifetime. I was, from the day that I was born, born in the mid '80s, born in 1986, up until if I had to choose what was like the most, like the biggest moment in human history from the day I was born up until now, it would still have to be September the 11th. And it's not so much, again, just going back to, it's not about asking or knowing or assuming that you know why it really happened, and no, that conspiracy is not right, this conspiracy is right, and all this shit, right? It's not about you're right, I'm wrong, you're right. What you have to take away from that entire like situation and that entire the way all of that unfolded, and I mean, well over 20 years have passed by, and I was watching these videos like I was mentioned earlier, and I just started crying. It was just so. It's like like this was unfolding in real time and just totally unexpected, totally um, just uh, just real horror happening in real time. Uh, but yeah, going back to it's not about having all the answers or knowing all the answers or this is who was really involved or terrorism and Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and George Bush and all that shit. What you should really take away from it all is just not trying to question and come to every uh, that every conclusion is going to be the correct conclusion, but just really marinate in that moment and just know that it happened. It doesn't. I mean, it matters, of course, but it doesn't really matter how and why or who and every single last motherfucker that was involved. Because I mean, who really knows, right? Who really knows? But the bigger thing and the bigger picture is that it did happen. And in order for something like that to unfold from an idea inside a couple of dozen, motherfuckers' minds, and for them to put a plan like that into fruition and have it unfold in reality in real time is honestly, it's disgusting and it's heinous and it's insane. It's fucking insanity. But in order for something like that to be executed, takes like decades and decades of fucking planning. It's not something that for something in their eyes, in the eyes of these terrorists, and I'm pretty sure they were more than pleased with how everything, when it was all said and done, how everything unfolded. I'm sure they were like, all right, mission accomplished. We set out to do exactly what we wanted to do. Um, Something like that, and for them to hit every fucking point of all of that, it's something that takes decades and decades and decades of planning, and or at least a decade of planning, I'd imagine. But it's and now, and I was seeing, like, man, I know it's the fucking internet, bro. And hold on, 15 minutes ain't that? I need to wrap this up soon. I know it's the fucking internet, and people rage bait and type stupid shit in the comments just to be a troll. But there's actually people like in the comments saying planes never really hit those buildings. They were it was CGI. And in my mind, I'm just like, man, bro, like, just please, whatever you do, just please don't breed. Like, please, just don't breed. If you're that fucktarded, yeah, bro. I'm the hundreds and hundreds of home video footage that was recorded by civilians and the citizens of New York that were being recorded on all kinds of cameras, from shitty cameras to little ass handheld little cameras or whatever. Yeah, from all this scale of shit quality to good quality and all. Yeah, bro. The government took all those home videos and home footage of innocent civilians and citizens of New York, and they all just installed airplanes in every single one of those videos. And it's like, whatever. I know it's the internet, and people probably just type shit like that just to rage bait a motherfucker. But I guarantee that there's a handful of people that sincerely do believe that planes didn't hit those buildings that day. Like, there is people that are really that far gone. And I guess I'll wrap it up with this, in the sense that we're caught in this weird fucking time in human history where the cameras back then that were recording 9/11, like the home videos of civilians and citizens of New York that were recording what was transpiring on that day of September 11th, 2001. Some videos are good, some footage is real grainy and shitty, some whatever. So back then, like, the quality of a video wasn't all that great. It was like shit, right? It was shitty. That was 2001. Now you fast forward to the year 2026, 25 years later, and now these fucking phones are phenomenal, and AI and all this shit, right? Whatever. But we all know how that goes. Yet at this point in time, I'll wrap it up with this. We're caught in such a pivotal, weird fucking point in human history where now, 25 years ago, the footage was pretty shitty. It wasn't all that great. It was whatever. Now it's too good and fucking mind-bogglingly deceiving that going forward in human, history, just at least like in Western culture here, like in the Americas and stuff. I mean, all over the world now. It's not like America's the only place that has fucking smartphones. But now the technology is so good that everything you see has to be questioned, because you don't really know if it was altered. You don't really know if it was, sprinkled with AI fucking, bullshit. You don't really know. And it's a really dangerous game that we just find ourselves in at this point in time. And it's like, once the fucking genie's out of the bottle, there's no fucking putting the genie back in. And the fucking genie is fucking running fucking wild right now. And the sad thing of it all is that if you're not seeing it with your own two eyes in the real world, and I don't mean staring into a phone, just observing life with your own two eyes, aside from that, you don't really know what the fuck's real anymore. Or, this is an extreme example, but say I'm in my backyard and Jesus Christ or the ghost of Jim Morrison like magically appears from a cloud, and I start recording it, right? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, I'm the first fucking human to ever record, like, Jesus Christ or the ghost of Jim Morrison or whatever the fuck. And it's 100 legitimate. I saw it with my own two eyeballs. I just hit record on my phone. I didn't throw it through any fucking AI generators or none of that stupid shit. And if I would have released that footage to the world, no one would believe me anyway. No one would believe me. It'd be like, oh, that's not real. That's impossible. This, that. So granted, that's an extreme example, but all I'm trying to get at with that example, or that that hyperbole, whatever search scenario or whatever, is that it's just going down this weird fucking rabbit hole. And even in courtrooms, like I've been saying this shit for years. Like, what's gonna pass off as evidence in a courtroom, or I have audio footage of this person that he said this and he said that. Oh, that shit's that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, what constitutes as evidence in a courtroom now with the ability to manipulate it with technology and AI, and it's just, man, what we need to spend less and less time on these fucking devices and go out into the fucking real world and live your fucking life. Live your fucking life.